Ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the mic, hailing from just outside Philadelphia, the can't miss speculist, Big Paws on a Pup, J.P.Q.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of No Particular Angle. I'm your host, Big Paws on Pup, JPQ. We are going back into the wild world of Stardom here. Stardom-world.com just put up, and I got to pause. If you haven't yet, you need to head over to Stardom-world.com. You need to give them $6.50 US dollars, and you need to check out what Stardom's all about, because right now, I don't know if it gets much better. I don't know if we get more consistency out of a wrestling promotion than we do. Stardom, ladies and gentlemen, #watch Stardom. We are in the midst of a fantastic show that just happened over the weekend at Korakuen Hall. 1,500 or so people showed up, if not a sellout, close to it. Stardom, the way to Major League was this past weekend. We had two championship matches. We had the Wonder of Stardom Championship, Arisa Hoshiki versus Bea Priestley. We had the Artist of Stardom title match, Donna Del Mondo versus Queen's Quest. We had a singles match between Mayu Iwatani, your World of Stardom champion, versus a very special, very interesting pivot when Sari wasn't able to go. None other than Takumi Iroha shows up to challenge in a very special main event singles match against our own Mayu Iwatani. And we had some friends across the way find their way to this very special match. And with me on the phone is none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Jay Silver from the Smack It Down podcast, found his way to Tokyo, Japan, into Korakuen Hall to watch his first Stardom show. Jay, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am chilling. Yeah.
That's good. That is good.
Let me know, Jay. You've been in Japan now for a little while. You know, a little. This might be a week, if not close to it. How's it going out there? How are you liking it?
It's good, man. It's good. I have found a lot of different places here that I'm never going to get to experience again unless I come back here. Dude, there is a store that our friend Eric from the Joshi Pod suggested I go to. And oh boy, if you ever come here, make sure you go to this store, dude, because like you can get pretty much anything when it comes to wrestling stuff in there, like autographs, things from like all different promotions. It is crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited. Me and the wife do have plans at some point to get out there once the little pups are a little bit older. But right now, you know, you're there. You were at the show, your first Stardom show. You tell me about it, man. How was the experience?
It was good, man. It was good. Like, I've been to New Japan before. Like, when they've come to Australia, I've been to a few indies that, like, float through my town and that sort of thing. But, dude, compared to, like, Stardom and New Japan, like, just those two promotions running out of Korakuen, and, like, they're both under the Bushiroad banner, like, they set up things so differently, like, to buy merch and that sort of thing, like, the start of shows.
Yeah, you were mentioning that off air.
So, like, with like, your New Japan, dude, like, you go there, you get your ticket, which you pay for at Korakuen Hall itself, and then, like, you go upstairs, you, like, just float around, buy your merch, that sort of thing, and then, like, you go get your seats, right? Whereas with the Stardom stuff, they only sell merch before the show, dude, and if you don't get, like, an 8x10, like, of, say, Mayu or Saki, your girl Saki, you can't get anything signed from them, because they just won't. Like, they don't sell merch after the show, which is crazy.
Right. They do, like, their meet and greets, in a sense, after the show, right?
Correct. So, like, I didn't know this. So, I only bought, like, 3 8x10s. So, I missed out on a few people who I wanted because I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was happy with the 8x10s that you got, but you didn't get Saki Cash. No. You didn't get, some of your favorites, it seemed.
Yeah, like, I didn't get Arisa. I didn't get friggin' Jungle. I didn't get Hana. But that's because I didn't know. If I had have known this at the start of the show, I would have paid for the 8x10s then.
Yeah.
It's just I had the 3 that like I was. What was that? Sorry.
I said you did get to meet Mayu.
I did get to meet Tom as well. But like the big thing is though, dude, like if I had known this, I would have gotten more at the start of the show, but I just didn't know. But luckily, I rectified that situation at that store that Mr. Eric Howard sent me to, and got Arisa and Hana there, but I didn't get Jungle or Saki.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, it's not too different than when they were in New York. Now, me and JD from the Red Leaf Retrocast and his dad, funny enough, we all went out to Queens for the Stardom Big Apple show, right? Big Apple, Stardom in New York or Stardom in the Big Apple. I forget the name of it exactly. Anyway, it was their New York show.
Sorry, I was going to say, interesting fact about that show. That was the first Stardom show I watched. Also, the Fight TV stream cut out halfway through during the Utami and Momo match.
Which is hilarious because I saw that match live and I got pictures and I was the one that posted the spoilers, quote unquote, because the feed died.
Well, like I said, that was the first Stardom show I watched and I enjoyed what I saw. And then it came back during the main event, which was the elimination match. I'm like, cool. So what happened?
Yeah, right. That's true. That did happen.
Fight TV.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, Fight does nice work most of the time. I don't know what it was about that arena, but they were having issues with the ring prior to it starting, which actually worked out perfect for us because we wanted another beer. So we got another beer. We then jump on the train. We take the 20 minutes out to Queens from Midtown, and we get there, and it hasn't started yet. And it was like perfect because we were like 10 minutes late. This is, you know, it couldn't have worked out any better for JD and myself and his father. But yeah, it was kind of the same setup. You know, they sold merch. Probably in this instance, it was the entire show, right? You could get merch up until maybe the main event, right? Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they did. And when you bought the merch, obviously you had the T-shirts and they had all these little accessories and whatnot. And then they had cards. And we didn't have 8x10s per se. We had little index cards in a sense. And you would just buy a piece of this index card and you could buy as many as you wanted, right? And after the show where all the merch was, they lined up all the wrestlers left to right by the by the stairs to the exits. And if you presented a card to a wrestler, you got your picture taken, you got to say hello, and then you got a signed 8x10 with your name, right?
Okay. So what you were buying then was a 2-shot.
You were buying a 2-shot, exactly right. Huh? Knowing the names of things. Right. So you'd buy a 2-shot.
I was going to say, like, here, like, so on the merch table here, there wasn't actually very much of a selection of, like, clothing and stuff. Like, I got you the Saki shirt because of that bet. Congratulations.
That's right. Let's remind everybody what that bet was. That bet was that Mr. Adorkable himself, Jay Silver, picked Utami Hayashishida to...
No, that wasn't the original bet. The original bet
I didn't say it was the original. I said it was the one I won.
Oh, fine. Go ahead.
That's right. Yeah, we had a push at the year-end climax show. He picked Julia. I picked Hana. It was a draw, so we moved the bet to Arisa, Wonder of Stardom champion, versus Utami Hayashishida. And for whatever reason, Jay picked against his own kin in Arisa. He picked Utami, and of course, Utami ate the pin there after that Brazilian kick. And I walk away with a brand new Oedo Tai Saki Kashima shirt. Win-win for Big Paws.
You appear to be, I think, undefeated in Stardom bets at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's true. I beat I got a T-shirt from you, and I got beers from JD. I'm riding high through 2019 and 2020 here.
Oh, that's going to change at some point this year. Don't you worry.
We'll see.
But so there wasn't like that much of a selection of the shirts and stuff, dude. Like, I think the only shirt they were actually selling was the Saki shirt, so you're kind of lucky in that regard.
Smart. That's because they understand where the talent is, my friend.
There was like when I went to the merch table, there was like one Tam hoodie, which was just the wrong size. I did get a Tam towel though, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a nice get by you.
Yeah, but like I said though, just the 8x10 situation, like I didn't know about. And yeah, you purchased the 2 shots after the show.
Okay, so wait. So when you got an 8x10, what was that your ticket in a sense to the two shot?
No. So the 8x10 was 1,000 yen, so it's roughly like $10.
Sure.
Um, with that, you then have to line up after the show in the respective lines of, say, like Mayu, Tam, whoever. And then you just got to wait until you get to the front. Then you get to the front, a little bit of conversation with you if you can speak Japanese or they can speak English, which Mayu and Konami cannot. Tam can speak a little bit, which kind of surprised me. Then, like, you can get a photo of them without you if you choose to, and then you just move to the next line.
Ah. Now, so when you have your 8x10, you hold it for the entire show, and then you match that up with the wrestler, and then they sign it for you. Is that the idea?
Correct. Or if you get a two-shot with them, you can get that signed as well.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, that was different than New York. New York, you had an index card. They had the 8x10s on the table. You handed the two-shot card to the wrestler of your choosing, and then little meet and greet, 2-3 minutes, say hi, tell them they do a great job, and then they sign the piece of paper, take a picture, boom, and you're out the door.
Just out of curiosity here. In like the lines and stuff over there, like, was it lining up per wrestler, or was it just lining up in a huge line and then you get to the end and then you do what you need to do?
Lining up per wrestler. So when I went, I got Saki Kashima. I got to meet Saki Kashima, Momo Watanabe, Jungle Kyona, and Konami. Now, obviously, Stars at the time was on fire. Oedo Tai was on fire. So who didn't get a lot of love was B Priestley right at the beginning. It didn't seem like people were headed that way. Bobby Tyler was also kind of sitting in the wings a little bit. But Mayu's line was like the entire arena. Arisa's line was a little shorter.
That's kind of
Hazuki's,
like how it was here as well.
I believe it. I mean, face of the company makes a lot of sense. At the time, she's the Women of Honor champion going into Supercard the night before or the night after. You had Kagetsu and Hazuki's line. Hazuki probably had the second longest line. And then Tam was mixed in there somewhere. You couldn't really tell because it was just a cluster over there, right?
Right.
I opted to go right into the Jungle line because, of course, I did. Jungle, I waited for maybe 5-10 minutes. Momo, I didn't wait at all, which is funny because he was the Wonder of Stardom champion at the time. I just don't think enough people gravitated to the right off the bat. Konami was there. Utami was there. I opted for Konami for obvious reasons. I just think that she's just a killer. And then weaseled my way back over to Stars. And what I realized is that Saki Kashima had nobody at her table. So, which is just a travesty. But I walk up, I say hello. Next thing I know, we're like doing this broken, English chatter back and forth. Take a picture, a couple pictures, and then it was like, it's kind of like when you work a trade show, and there's people at the booth, and you want to keep people at the booth so that other people come up to see what is going on. And that was my experience with Saki because we just kept talking because nobody was there. And then eventually people saw us talking and then a line started to accumulate. So I really like to believe that I helped to get Saki's money up in New York City.
So, similar kind of thing here, but after their line was like just dead, the wrestlers would just pack up and go. Like, while I was in the Tam line, I watched Starlight go. While I was in the Konami line, which kind of surprised me that Konami was still there, Hana left because no one was there for Hana.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, once they're done, right?
True. But, like, dude, I listened to like 3/4 of the last episode of the Joshi Pod while I was waiting for Mayu's line to move.
I remember because you were texting me saying that you were like, should I stay in this line or should I go somewhere else?
I really need to go to the bathroom was like the conversation.
Yeah, that was the conversation. How'd you like the show?
It was good, dude. It was good. I had very good seats. I was like one deep on hard campside. I appear on a few of the videos, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
It was very, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed the show. So
Yeah,
thank you to Konami for getting me those good tickets.
yeah, solid work by Konami. And you found yourself at on the receiving end of like every pose from every wrestler on the hard cam side.
Yes, it was so I realized that Oedo Tai, Donna Del Mondo, and like the heelish sort of factions were coming out from the left where I was sitting, and the face sort of faction was coming out from the right. So the heelish sort of factions would be like not posing towards me, but the face ones would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I got some mad pictures of like Mayu, Arisa. I got you one of Saki, I'm pretty sure.
You did. Thank you. Yeah, it was strong. It was a strong showing by you. It was a great show. Again, Stardom Dash World got it up in about 48 hours, so we were able to watch the entire thing. Let's break down the show. My man Jay. We started with a dark match. Itsuki Hoshino versus Leo Anazaki in a dark match. Quick match. Big takeaway for me watching this. It's that this is Itsuki's first W in singles competition, if I'm correct, if I remember correctly. With a show that's, again, I don't want to spend a tremendous amount of time on it, but for a show that the way to Major League, to see one of these young lionesses come in and get a win over Leo Anazaki, again, that I think that's good. She's somebody that they're looking at. Hoshino is, and 22 years old. She's got she's still green, obviously. She's been wrestling less than a year, but she has some athleticism in the ring, and she's been losing, right? I mean, let's call it what it was. She lost to Konami not too long ago. She's found herself at the losing end to a couple different wrestlers. So for her to come out against Leo Anazaki and pick up a W, maybe this is the start of something. Maybe she's the first of this younger generation of the Sayas, and Hoshino, and to really begin that elevation. Maybe not, right? Because she beat Leo Anazaki. It's not like she beat somebody on the main roster in a sense. But again, good W for her. It's nice to kind of get that first win underneath your belt here. How was the reaction from the crowd?
The reaction was good. It was very positive, and I think that she's the makings of a future bigger sort of star for them, like solid mid-card talent. By the way, she had a very big line for merchandise as well.
Did she really?
Like out of all of the like young lionesses, if you will, it was actually Hoshino that had the biggest line. Like she was still there as I was leaving after I spoken to Konami.
Interesting.
With people still waiting to meet Hoshino.
Yeah,
at that point, Ida, where I was gonna say, like, where at that point Ida and Kamitani there. Saya Kamitani had already left.
Yeah, I would have imagined that she probably would have had the longest line if I would have been a betting man.
I would have said already Kamitani, but that's just me.
I would have thought the same. Right, I would have thought it would have been Saya Kamitani. Well, all right. Well,
no, it's Hoshino. People seem to like her.
People seem to like her. That's maybe the reason that she was in the position she was to pick up the W tonight. This takes us into a gauntlet tag team match. We had Tokyo.
No. It takes us into the Fire Pro announcement. Or are we skipping that?
The what? The
Fire Pro announcement for all the new fighters.
We can do that. You were there. Why don't you walk everybody through the Fire Pro DLC?
They announced the new fighters for Fire Pro. Let's move on.
Nice. Okay.
Dude, I'm curious though, because like this is post Saki turn. I wonder which Saki you're gonna get.
It's a tough one. That's a tough one for me. So what do we know? We know Tom is going to be part of the DLC, right? We know Death is going to be part of the new DLC.
Both Sayas are part of the DLC.
Both Sayas
part of the DLC.
Julia,
Natsuko,
right? Or is it? I always get shit on for this. Apparently, it's Natsuka. How about that?
I'm calling it Natsuko.
Yeah, me too. That's what I do.
Let's just call it Laura.
I'm trying to figure him out. Julia, I think is Meika and Suri in it?
No, but Natsu's another kind of surprising because she's not at the contract.
Yeah, there might have been some back dealings there. I know there's 11 new ones. I don't think they've released everybody. Maybe they did. I didn't really pay attention too much. I mean, I ran through it on Stardom Dash World, but it wasn't why I was watching. Let's put it that way. It's exciting, and for the people that play, I wish I could. Right, like the thing about Fire Pro is that it's probably one of, if not the best, wrestling game in my opinion. And
It's pretty good.
yeah, it's very good. I've played it on a couple different occasions, but that's been with friends. I haven't bought it myself. I don't have time for video games right now. Although if I did, this would be one that I'd be checking out. And the more DLCs they come out for it, the more I'm sitting here like maybe I just invest the money and stop being, find the time in my day to play this game. We'll see.
Worth it, dude. It's worth it.
Yeah. So you're right. We get a Fire Pro announcement. This then takes us into the Gauntlet Tag Team match. We have Tokyo Cyber Squad, Jamie Hayter and Zoe Sky. We have Saya Tag, 3838 Tag, as well as Stars is who was it? It was Starlight Kid and Tom, right? We had Hina and Rina, as well as Death Yamasan and Layla Hirsch. So a little bit of everybody. All factions being represented twice over here. Again, these gauntlet matches, I think they do the transitions in between. We saw Stars eliminate Hina and Rina pretty early here, followed by Saya Tag picking up the nice W against Stars. Did not see that coming. Although they are the most consistent of all the tag teams. That's a tough one for me, but okay. And Jamie Hayter and Zoe Sky coming in to take out Saya Tag, and ultimately that leads to Death Yamasan and Layla Hirsch versus Jamie Hayter and Zoe Sky, in which Tokyo Cyber Squad picks up the W here over Jamie Hayter and Zoe Sky. Live, first impressions, gauntlet match. I assume this is the first one that you've seen. What did you think? 11 minutes, 11 and a half minutes maybe. Good match, bad match? How did it feel in person?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. You're going to get that response for pretty much everything here. Not going to lie. Dude, Kamitani introduced a new move.
Yeah, she
Don't know
did.
if you caught it or not, but that girl's going to break her neck, or she's going to become one of the highest people in Stardom.
She's not going to. Yeah, she's not going to be a high flyer, but because she's too long. But she does find herself in these little acrobatic spots from time to time. I mean, she's a former gymnast. She can definitely pull off some aerials. It's just, again, she's just very long. If that makes sense.
Indeed. I'm not going to lie. When she went for the shooting star, dude, I'm sitting there and I'm like, is it going to work? Is it going to work? No, it doesn't work. All right, then.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, not too much to this match, in my opinion. Again, it was a nice way to get everybody on the card. It was a nice way to introduce Zoe Sky and Layla Hirsch to Korakuen. But this was a fun back and forth. I like the fact that Death and Layla picked up the W. Not one of these tag teams outside of the Saya Tag, 3838 Tag, do I look at as being something that I really want to watch moving forward too much. Again, Jamie Hayter, Zoe Sky teaming together doesn't do much for me. Them separate, I love, right? Like I love Zoe Sky, right? And all the work that she's done in Shimmer and then on the American Independent scene. She's been on this show before. Jamie Hayter, obviously, you know what I think about her. I think she's a single star in the making. Starlight Kid is going for, her high-speed title run, hopefully sometime in 2020. And Tom is really setting herself up well to be the one to take the Wonder of title off whoever gets it in the match later today. Hina and Rina. There's nothing really about them that pops off. And Death Yamasan and Layla Hirsch, it's kind of a nice spot for them right now. Obviously, Jungle and Konami are coming off the tag team goddess run. And then you have Hana, who's, the mega star that she is. Putting them together makes a lot of sense for me. Makes more sense than Jamie Hayter and Zoe Sky. So for them to get the W over them, I thought that was good booking. What did you think?
I agree. It was good.
Nice. So this takes us into our Artist of Stardom title #1 contendership match. We have Oedo Tai, Natsuko Tora, Natsu Samire, as well as everybody's emblem, Saki Kashima, versus Tokyo Cyber Squad, Hana Kimura, Jungle Kyun, and Konami. This one could have went either way. This was a push match, in my opinion. Obviously, firepower-wise, you would think that TCS has the upper hand, right? The thing about Oedo Tai is that you just don't know what to expect yet out of them. Are they going to be more of a comedy-driven Now that you got Natsu and Saki together, are we looking for more of a comedy type of heelish antic group with with Jay with Jamie and Session Moth in the background? What do we expect? Are we expecting the same type of heelish antics we came to love so much from Kagetsu and Hazuki? Right, a lot of unanswered questions this early in the wrestling year for Oedo Tai. A lot of those answers found in this match. 10-minute match. We had none other than Saki Kashima find her way to victory, leading her team to victory. She put down. She made a change. She bet on herself, Jay. She left Stars, the most popular faction in Stardom, and she said, "You know what? This is my time." And she went over to Oedo Tai. And she found a way to get the W. She found a way, Jay, to hit Revival, pick up the W for her team. Natsuka Tora's offense just hasn't been right since the 5-star Grand Prix. Natsu Sumire had a nice little Artist of Stardom championship run to give her her first title, but ultimately she's not the wrestler, right, that people hoped for her to be. She will be there one day. She's better than people give her credit for, but nevertheless, sometimes you need to bring in an anchor, right, to settle the waters, to settle the boat. And in this case, your emblem and mine, Saki Kashima, finds a way to get the job done. Jay, what were your thoughts when Saki Kashima came out to the ring and ultimately put her team on her back and got the W?
Well, first of all, before we get into that, I have 2 questions for you. Because I've had time to let this sink in. You probably have now too.
Sure.
First of all, #wrestling fashion. What do you think of their new outfits?
Here's what I like. I like the jacket that Saki was wearing. I find that Captain Crunch, aesthetic, just in darker colors, to fit the narrative that she's going for. She's still, in my idea, she's still finding her way, right? She's still kind of wearing Natsu-esque attire. She hasn't fully committed. She got the bob, not a huge fan of the bob, but she got the bob. And now she's coming out with this, this Admiral type of vibe with this new jacket. And it'll be interesting to see how it progresses. I don't think her look is finished yet, to your point, but it is one of those things where I'm willing to let this flesh out a little bit. It's hard for her to do wrong in my eyes. However, depending on how she outfits the rest of her gear, that might sway me one side or the other, because fashion has no allegiance, my friend. But overall, I think it's a cohesive look.
I have a feeling that she's going to debut her new in-ring gear and stop using the Natsu Sumire hand-me-down, either at the Cinderella or the 5-star.
I don't think they'll wait till the 5-star. I think there's enough story time. I mean, you're talking August or close to it. Cinderella, maybe. I could see that. Maybe post-draft, if they even do a draft this year. We'll see. But I think it's coming. I think it's being made. I think the jacket was done. It'll be interesting to see what direction they go.
Fair enough. Did you like Natsuko's and Natsu's new jackety sort of attire as well?
I didn't mind. I like what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to keep the semblance of Oedo Tai alive, but they're trying to put their own spin on it. So they're getting not 100% away from the camo by any stretch, but they're trying to navigate post Kagetsu Oedo Tai, right? They're trying to get.
What about the bucket instead of the sign?
The bucket instead of the sign. It was okay. I mean, accessories don't do a tremendous amount for me when they're just accessories, but depending on how they use that bucket moving forward, if it
uses the weapon in the match like the sign was,
Jay, think about all the comedy spots that they could possibly do over the course of the year with a bucket. Right? You got this comedic genius, Saki Kashima. Using it as a weapon, that's easy, right? That's the introduction. But what else can you do with it? What can you put in it? Think about all the things you can put in it, Jay. That can embarrass that people.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun. They'll figure out something fun to do with that. Like we're trying to put over a bucket. Tokyo Cyber Squad picks up the loss. Hanakamura, Jungle, and Konami. What did you think when they picked up the W? Did you expect to text me and tell me and rub it in my face that Saki was going to lose when they did?
I don't think I ever said that to you, dude.
No, I'm saying, but were you anticipating a loss by Oedo Tai here? Or did you find this? Did you? What I'm asking you, Jay, is were you surprised that TCS didn't come out with the W?
Considering the TCS team, yes, I was, because it's Konami, Jungle, and Hana.
I think that's fair. I do.
Like those three former artist champions. Like we've just got Jungle and Konami coming off the Goddess run.
Right.
It kind of caught me off guard, but I guess this is a way to build up the new Oedo Tai, which also ties into the follow-up question I had from before. What did you think of the new theme?
I think it's okay. I mean, again, nothing beats Saki Kashima's song by herself. So, it's one of those things where it's an adjustment period, right? Like anytime
it has enough of the original Oedo Tai theme in there. It's just a remix, and it suits these three. I'm curious to know how it's going to go with B and Jamie, but for these three as a group, it worked well.
It seems a little bit more fun, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the audio as well. Yeah, the audio isn't the greatest on my side, so I'm sure live, obviously better stereo sound and whatnot. It comes across, but you know how it is with Stardom Dash World. Sometimes it's a little, it's not static. It's not the main focus, right? They don't mic that part of it. It just kind of comes over the speaker. Excuse me. I didn't mind it. Again, I think with Oedo Tai right now, I'm in a wait and see approach with them. Like I don't know who the leader is. I know Natsu's kind of the leader right now. And then you got Saki sitting there and everything that happened and transpired later in the night. Then, you've got Jamie and B, top guy Jins. Is B going to find her way? I mean, she's the one getting all the title matches. She's the one that's coming off the World of Stardom title run. There's a lot of unanswered questions with Oedo Tai right now. So I'm in a wait and see approach. I like the attire changes. I like the music changes. I like that Saki joined. Now, what do you do? What are you doing moving forward, right? And that's kind of where I am with them.
Fair enough. But yeah, dude, just surprised more than anything. Surprised.
Yeah, surprise makes sense. Although, I thought that the number one contender. Well, here's what's interesting about the way they booked this card. With Oedo Tai versus TCS and an Artist of Stardom title number one contendership match, I really felt whoever won that match was going to dictate who won the next match. And here's what I mean.
So did I.
We walked into the Artist of Stardom title match. After this match, we had Julia, Maika, and Suri Kondo versus Azumi, Momo Watanabe, and Utami Hayashishida. Donna Del Mondo versus Queen's Quest 101 for the Artist of Stardom championship titles. Ultimately, we saw, and this should not be a surprise to anybody, we saw the incredible teamwork of Donna Del Mondo pick up a W against a very formidable Queen's Quest. Again, it wasn't too long ago, Jay. I think it was on your podcast, or it might have been Stardom back earlier in the year, where I talked about, I don't think I have seen a more balanced trios team than Azumi, Momo, and Utami. Right? I just felt a long Artist of Stardom title run was going to happen with those three. And again, it's a hot potato title. We know it. It's a trios belt. It switches factions all the time. But there is something about that formation, or that trio of Azumi, Momo, and Utami, where you kind of have everything covered, from power to ring generalship to technical to high speed, to striking. They have it all. But then Donna Del Mondo comes out, right? And we know Julia and kind of the fanfare leading up to the 5-star, or not the 5-star, thank you, yeah, the year-end climax. And then we saw Maika come in, and then we saw Sori come in, and then now they're in a position as a trios to now go against the Artist of Stardom champions. And I'm just looking at these, and I'm just like, how can they lose? I was on the Joshi pod last week talking about how can they lose, Jay? How can Donna Del Mondo, at this point, with how red hot Julia, how can they possibly lose to Queen's Quest, right? And this takes me back to my point before of there is no conceivable way in the booking that is. And again, whoever Rossi booked Stardom, there's Fuka has her opinions on it. Maybe I don't know who the head bookers are outside of Rossi, but knowing that Julia and Hana are kind of coming off this respect feud at the end of the year-end climax, once TCS lost to Oedo Tai, there was no doubt in my mind that Donna Del Mondo was going to not walk out as champions. And sure enough, 17 minutes later, we have Donna Del Mondo as your new Artist of Stardom champions. Julia, Micah, and Kondo picking up the W against Queen's Quest. You were there live, Jay. Walk everybody through it. What'd you like? What didn't you like? Seeing these 6 people in the ring for the first time. What were your expectations? And did they meet them? Did they exceed them? Tell me about it.
Well, first off, dude, first thing I realized is Azumi's got a new look as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got the hair extensions. Gives her rainbow-colored hair. Kind of cool.
Kind of fun.
Also, dude, Azumi, for her age, she's really freaking good.
I mean, she's been wrestling for like 7, 8, 9 years now, man.
I know. Like, I get that. I do. But, like, dude, just her live, like, she's really freaking good, and like she draws the attention of you to like just little things she does on the apron, like while she's just sitting there for a tag. She future star, dude, future star for sure.
100% agree.
Micah, something's missing with Micah, and I don't know if you can figure out what it is, but I just still kind of feel like something's missing with Micah.
Well, I mean, she's Raw, you know.
True.
Been wrestling.
Still green. She's been wrestling for like a year.
I mean, she's been wrestling since July, man. You know. I mean, she's just hit her 6-month mark not too long ago. You know, within the last week or so. You know, she's not. She comes from where? JTO, right? She comes from who is that? That's oh, come on, John. Thank you. Jeez, I don't know why I just spaced on that. That's Taka's promotion, right? And so she finds herself with this opportunity. Obviously, she has a background, an athletic background prior to that, you know. And I think that she is missing some of that charisma, right? She doesn't sell to the audience. She's more the worker, right? She's the one with her hair down that's just going to go in there and mess some people up, while Julia's fanfaring. You know, and Kondo's doing her thing. So I could see what you mean. I think that's where you're headed with it, to where there's a lack of presentation in Micah right now. But I think that's just you let her settle a little bit, get a little tread on the tires. You know, get a little miles on those tires, and I think she'll settle in just fine.
Fair enough. But, you know, dude, like as I've said with pretty much every match so far, like this was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. A few of the key spots in this match, dude. Konda and Momo just kicking each other in the spine. Momo looks like she kicks through you.
She does. Like, she commits. So I don't know if you've ever boxed before, Jay, but
no, I have not.
One of the first things they teach you in boxing is that you don't punch the bag, right? You don't punch the bag to hit the bag. You punch through the bag. Right? When you aim your punch, you're looking beyond the bag. And to your point about Momo, when Momo throws a kick, she's not looking to make contact. She's looking to kick through you, right? And that just makes it a little bit more impactful when she's moving her moveset. So I would agree with that.
But ultimately, dude, good match. I haven't rewatched this one. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, strong showing indeed. My takeaway for this is what it's been since she's came on, which is Julia's a star. She really is.
I agree.
She's a little green still, obviously. You know, she's not as clean in the ring as some of the other people. Does she have what it takes to kind of elevate her her in-ring work to the level of a Tom, of obviously Azumi, it wouldn't be fair at this point, but can she get it to the point of a Momo? Can she get it to the point even a Hana, right? Who's not the strongest in the ring, but still pretty good. You know, she's not on Jungle's level. She's not on Konami's level. Like, not to say that they would expose her, but she needs to be kind of taken care of in a sense. It'll be interesting to see. You know, it's easy to sit here and say with confidence, oh, well, she'll be fine. I mean, look at the charisma, look at this, look at that. But, you know, sometimes they don't reach that next level as fast as fans would assume they would with the type of push that they're getting. And Julia, I think they're being smart by putting her and protecting her in these types of matches. I think it's smart that she has goons in a sense that kind of can do her bidding, and she's really, I don't want to say more the mouthpiece because she's got more to offer than that, but you know, they're protecting her. And I think this is a slow burn. I think we're going to see her elevate up the ladder. You know, maybe find herself in a challenge and a win for a singles title at some point, whether that be the red belt or the white belt. Who's ready for that? I'm not sure. I think they'll move her to tag team at some point. That's probably the more conservative route. You know, put her back in a tag team. And she was there with Saya Tequila last year, or Tequila Saya, or geez, excuse me, I'm all over myself. Tequila Saya last year in Ice Ribbon. They had a good back and forth, good team chemistry. I would expect one of these two, Micah or Kondo, to pick up the reins and then to go for the Goddess of Stardom Championships at one point. When she's by herself, will dictate whether or not I jump on the Donna Del Mondo bandwagon. You know, how she can perform in the ring against the Jungle, for example, right? Head trainer, you know, or one of the lead trainers, I should say, in Stardom. How does Julia fare in a one-on-one matchup with someone like Jungle? That'll dictate to me whether I'm going to push my interest towards Donna Del Mondo more than I already have, or do I take a step back and do I let her kind of be groomed a little bit, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But I thought overall, it was a good showing for both teams. Again, I think the dominance of Donna Del Mondo was on display. I think that's the story that they needed to tell. Take out a team as stacked as Queen's Quest for the Artist of Stardom title. It's a win on both sides. It keeps the momentum going strong for Donna Del Mondo. And again, Queen's Quest kind of finds themselves in this loser position that they kind of been in for the last 3 to 6 months, depending on when you want to say that happened. You know, for me, it was Momo losing to Arisa, but you know, that to me was really kind of the tip of the iceberg of the fall of Queen's Quest, if you will. They got to turn the corner and start building it at some point. Do you think we're on the horizon of that? Or do you think they have a couple more rungs to go down this ladder before they start climbing back up?
I think Utami drops the future title to somebody, and then we start building him back up.
I really hope you're wrong. I do, Jay. Only because they're not doing anything with the Future of Stardom Championship. So, like, to have Saya beat Utami for it, it's like, come on.
No. The problem is with the Future of Stardom title is there's no one believable to beat Utami.
That's what I'm saying. So just have her vacated.
Or you could do it in the Rumble, dude, where somebody gets a surprise win.
I mean, this isn't WWE booking, pal.
I'm aware of that, but like you could do a gauntlet sort of thing, like a tag gauntlet, or that kind of thing. Like maybe Utami like throws out a challenge where she's like, "Hey, blah 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 blah, I'm the best, etc., and then she goes out to the like first, and then like she's eliminated last by say Kamitani or Ida.
So I would like, I like where you're going with it. I just don't think there's enough. Like even with like a 5-person elimination style match, I don't think there's enough in the young lionesses to pose any type of real threat, even one after the other, after another, that should put Utami on her back for 3 seconds. However, when we get to this year's 5-star, that'll be the 2-year mark, roughly, for Utami. At that point, I think she vacates. They set up the back third of the year, a Future of Stardom champion tournament, and then we crown, Itsuki at that point.
Itsuki, huh?
I think so. I think that, by that point, she'll still be under a year close to maybe just, by that point, I mean, depending on when the finals is, She could be right around the year mark. That would give her a year run with the Future of Stardom Championship. I think that works for me.
You could give, like, I'm just throwing this one out there because it would make a good story. If you could do that same kind of thing with Hanan, because she'll be returning from injury.
Who?
With Hanan.
Oh, yeah, you could do that with Hanan. Sure. I thought you said Hana. I was like, wait, how many years?
I said Hanan, but
no, you did. I misheard. Yeah, you put Hanan in there. She was projected to be not to be like a star this year, but like she's recognized as one of the up and comers for sure. So, yeah, you could toss her in there and see what she does. I'd be okay with that.
She's been around recently. Like, she's been playing second to ringside, so maybe she's almost ready to come back.
Yeah, we'll see. I think she's got a little ways to go still, but again, they don't need to rush it. They got time. This takes us to the Wonder of Stardom title match. Arisa Hoshiki going for her 10th defense against none other than the top gaijin herself, Bea Priestley. In my opinion, Jay, Arisa's starting to win me over. She has these cluster matches from time to time where
starting to win you over.
What's that?
You said starting to win you over.
Yeah, starting to win me, because here's the thing: the consistency has always been the issue, right? It's not that she's not great. So take out the character and just look at her in the ring. She does a lot of great things, but every once in a while, she just doesn't jive with the person across from her. And before, I thought it was like a foreigner thing, like her versus Jamie in the 5-star. Like, I just thought it was like styles clashing in a sense.
They rectified that match. They rectified that problem with the Wanda defense.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's working her way through her losses. That's kind of been her story, is that she's working her way through the losses here. The beginning of 2020 from the 5-star the year previous. We find her in a match against Bea Priestley, also part of the Blue Block that same year. Bea Priestley.
Arisa beat in that block.
Yeah, I know, but she's running through them, is my point. Like, she's going through. Sure. Like, you notice how she's not going against anybody on the red side, really, right? Because that's where Mayu is. That's where Tam was. That's where Saki is. That's where Hana was. You know what I mean? Like, she hasn't hit those people yet, but she has defended against Konami. She has defended against Jamie. She's defended against Avery. She's defended against Kagetsu.
Fair enough.
She's working the blue side a little bit more than the red side.
Fair enough.
Because I think that the person who ultimately takes it off of her comes from the red side, right? From last year's 5-star. Anyway, so good match, back and forth between the two. Bea with her new look, new gear, rocking the lime green here. I like it. I do. I like it. It just reads a little TCS to me, and I think that's because of the green. Wherein I usually associate like purples and dark pinks and reds with Oedo tie outside of their normal black and white. So that was a little bit of a throw off for me. I like the pigtails. I thought that was fun. Seeing Bea in person for the first time, Jay, her versus, your queen Adorkable here, Arisa Hoshiki. What were your thoughts? Tell me about it, man.
So first of all, have you realized little things that Arisa does in the ring?
Like how when she punches somebody when they're on the ground, she barely makes contact? Sure.
Not what I was talking about, but like right at the start of the match, when Bea's doing the rope walk, did you notice right before friggin' Arisa kicked her, she has this big massive grin?
Yeah, like she knows it's coming. She kind of telegraphs some of her stuff from time to time.
Did you realize at the New York show that, dude, the reason Arisa's kicks look so good is because she's actually kicking people?
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, look, I take nothing away from her in the ring. I like to tease her from time to time. I like to play the game a little bit because, again, she's a dork. What can you say? At the end of the day.
I agree.
So it's and it's fun to to tease her a little bit. But overall, I mean, again, you give respect where respect's due. She's having a hell of a run. 10th defense of her Wonder of Stardom Championship. She is now, in one defense away from being on EO's level. She's 2 defenses away from tying Momo, 3 defenses away from winning or from taking the title away from everybody. You know, they're really pushing her to the moon right now, and for good cause. So again, all my cheekiness is out of love.
I think she's going to tie Io's record, but I don't think she's going to beat Momo's.
Interesting. Why?
Because of the story being told with another person that we can touch on in a bit. Who was also from the Red Block.
You're talking Tom?
I'm talking Tom.
Yeah, let's jump into that. So, okay, so let's real quick walk through this match. So I found this to be one of the better technical matches that I've seen from Arisa overall. Obviously, there's some spots in there where it gets away from her a little bit, but when you're working with B has made tremendous strides since she entered Stardom 18 or so months ago. Finding herself in I don't know, I think maybe it was a year ago at this point. I don't know. B is really coming into her own as a character, as well as her in-ring work has gotten exponentially better since her first tour with Stardom. Now, Arisa comes in there and they play well together, right? The size, the height of both of them, the lankiness, the stretchiness of both really lent itself to a very eye-pleasing match. So it's commending both of them here. 16 minutes, close to 17-minute match, and Arisa picks up the W with the Brazilian kick. To your point, Jay, now that she's pretty much run through everybody on the blue block, she's got to start dipping herself into the red block. I just do not see a way where Tom doesn't run into her. I think it's set up. I think now that Julia and Micah and Sori, are the Artist Stardom champions, they don't need right now the Wonder of Stardom champion. So you go through the list. Who hasn't she beaten? Who could she beat? Obviously, Mayu versus Jungle looks like it's going to happen at a later date. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Queen's Quest, she's beaten Momo. She's beaten Utami. Azumi's the only one left. Maybe she can throw up a win against Tom real quick. Or Seth. But really, she's kind of gone through the roster. There's not enough people left at this point. I don't know if they're going to burn Saki and her push on her. Do you see Tom coming up in the near future? Do you think it's a Cinderella win for Tom that ultimately she then cashes that in against her best friend? How do you see this story playing out?
That's the question, isn't it? That's the money question.
Yes.
Because you can mirror Arisa's rise with the Cinderella. But do you want to do that? Do you want to have it like last time when these two had a match, was it her first or second defense of the Wonder title?
Second.
Like, it was out of hatred. Tom's hatred, and Arisa just wanted to...
Jealousy, brattiness.
Like, they've grown so much since then. Like, the question is, how do we get there? Because it's gonna happen. And one has to assume, with the promo and stuff after Tom beating Kagetsu clean and all of that, that they're on a collision course, and it's just when and where is it going to happen?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And to that point, I think Tom is one of the more marketable people right now in Stardom. I think someone with mass fan appeal. That if you're going to, you can't take the title off of her from Azumi, for example, can't take the title off of her, right? Like you need somebody with a little name value, someone with a little cachet with the fans. Looking up and down the roster, and the fact that people are blind to the greatness that is Saki Kashima, there's only really one person left sitting with the big question mark over their head, and that's Tom, right? So that match does need to happen.
Your next defense dude could be Hana. Like, she hasn't had a match with her yet.
Yeah, here's the problem with Hana. Is she too big? Like, what's the benefit of Arisa, who's being pushed to the moon right now, to take out another fan favorite in Hana? Now, granted, they play it's a very loose face heel dynamic that they have in Stardom as is, and because you like them all, right? There's really no one to hate in Stardom. But really, at the end of the day, what does Arisa have to gain by beating Hana? Not a lot. Not a lot.
And Honda doesn't really have anything to gain from losing to Arisa.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like Hana's kind of looked at as like the, you know, she's as mainstream as Stardom has right now, in my opinion. Right? She's like within Japan, and she's popular overseas. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's too early. Maybe she beats Hana to break Momo's record. You know,
You're gonna
maybe.
push her past Momo's record, are you? Because I
I
don't
think she
think she's
has
gonna
to.
get
I
that.
think she has to. I just don't. I mean, they're not pushing anybody else right now. I mean, she really is the you know, if Mayu's the face of Stardom, you know, Arisa's number two. You know, and then there's separation between her and everybody at number three. Like she is as high up on that board as you can be without your name ending in Iwatani.
It's a real problem, isn't it, dude? Because like, how would you get Tom to this match? Would you do the Cinderella?
No, no, I don't think I would. I think that's too linear of a path. I think there needs to be. I think the story that they told at the beginning was you were spot on. The fact that Tom didn't really like Arisa so much, so she was going to take her title, right? And then they kind of built Dreamshine, and then they kind of came together, and Arisa kind of won her over, and all that. And now I think in some form or fashion they're going to find a way to make this happen. And I think the way it happens is Arisa makes Tam challenge for the Wonder of Stardom champion. Like I've beat all these people. I have nobody left to fight. So I'm going to fight somebody I want, and I want to fight my best friend.
Well, she's the one that's been issuing the challenges up until the B challenge anyway.
I mean, yes and no, but why has she been offering it? Because she wants to fight the best, or she has unfinished business through the 5-star, and these are all the stories that she's telling. So you can keep that going. And now it's like, okay, well I've beaten all of them. Now I got to take out my best friend. And Tom, no, 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 I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. And then she comes in and they have the match, and Tom ultimately ends up winning. And now it's bittersweet, right? Because now it's Tom has always wanted to be a singles champion, and she finally attained, or she finally reached her goal. But to do
But
it,
she did it by beating her best friend.
she had to beat her best friend, right? So I think that's a story worth exploring.
Then there's tears and respect, and then Arisa goes for the world.
Maybe. Maybe not. Or Arisa doesn't lose because you kind of need Arisa out in the out front and center right now. So keep the momentum going. Let's see her and Mayu, you know, title for title or one of the titles on the line later down the line. I'm good with that
You're
too.
still holding out for that, aren't you?
I kind of am, yeah. Joshi Pod kind of sold me on that back during the year-end climax, and I think he's got a point. You know, I think at the end of the day, you have so much separation between the top two and the rest of the roster, although the entire roster is deep, that, you know, you keep pushing these two until they finally get on a collision course against one another.
I mean, if it's belt for belt, title for title, Mayu's already held them both before.
Sure. So is Io.
So, no. Like, I'm talking at the same time.
I don't
like,
think that's
Mayu's
right.
the only one who's done it.
Yeah, you're right. She's held every other title except that.
Yeah. So, do you give, if it's going to happen, do you do a time limit draw? Do you give Mayu that rubber game? Does Arisa beat Mayu? It's just complicated.
Right. And when you don't have the answer, if the answer is not scripted out, you know, so easily for fans, you got something there. So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But in either case, Arisa picks up the W. You get to see your favorite wrestler in Stardom pick up the W, defend her championship against B. Priestley. And what I'll tell you was a very compelling match. Not the best match of the night, though, as we had a very special match. Takumi Aroha, right? Champion over in Marvelous. The face of Marvelous, killer strikes, killer kicks. She was in Stardom once before. She finds herself back for a one-off here, saving the day in a sense against her first Sari, who got a little illness and couldn't make it to the match. We found this out maybe 24 hours before, 48 hours before. It's always tough to tell being in this.
Before.
Yeah, it's stateside, and then, you know, the Japan show's coming up. It's just getting the timeline down.
I had to learn who Takumi was. Thank you, JD.
Yeah, JD's the one to go to for that. Wrestling Around the World, Red Leaf Retrocast every 2 weeks. You should check that out. Anyway, she finds herself in a position against Mayu Iwatani, right? No title on the line. Interesting booking decision, as I'll tell you, this was easily the match of the night. This was 21 minutes of Mayu getting her ass handed to her, which is about on par for a Mayu match. Takumi Iroha, since leaving Stardom, going into Marvelous, has really upped her game. She is not the same woman that she was when she left Stardom, and her work in Stardom, it really does speak for itself in a sense, right? The thing about it that I always found interesting was, she was kind of booked as the protege for Nagayo, right? I think I'm saying that right. Chigusa Nagayo. I think I got that right. If not, I'm sure JD will make fun of me later for it. Anyway, and she's built a reputation for herself in Marvelous, right? She could have stayed. She decided to leave. She gets underneath the wing of the owner of Marvelous, and she just starts going, right? And man, whether it was her versus Nene Takahashi and Seedling, or some of the matches that she's put on with some of the rookies in Marvelous, Shindo comes to mind. She's really kind of accepted and taken on the role of being the face of Marvelous, right? And she's as big of a star, in Joshi, as anybody, right? And so for her to step up 11th hour and take on, the biggest star in the hottest promotion, in my opinion, in Japan right now, maybe of all the world, with regards to the potential growth, Mayu Iwatani. Well, now we got something to talk about, right? Because this match went 21 minutes. Aroha had her strikes, her kicks on point tonight. She took Mayu to task. Mayu wasn't. It's good storytelling. Mayu didn't have an answer. Mayu didn't know what to do, and ultimately finds herself on her back for the 3 count. Takumi picking up the win. Mayu issuing a challenge for a later date to run this match back with the World of Stardom Championship on the line. Again, for as much of a Scotch tape main event that you could put together, these two went out there and performed. Speaks to the professionalism of both. Obviously they've wrestled before, so they're familiar with one another, but at the end of the day, this is what we come to expect out of main events in Stardom, and I think they knocked this out of the park. Being there live, Jay, one last time. What was your sense watching Aroha for the first time? Obviously, Iwatani for the first time as well, live. What did you think of this match? How did it play out for you?
Once again, same thing I'm going to say, like I said before. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Solid analysis on your side, Jay. The entire show.
Why, thank you. So, like you said, I wasn't really familiar with Aroha. She made a fan out of me in this match. I'm going to have to check out some more Marvelous because, dude, she has the it factor. And I thought that just for a match that was less than 24 hours in the making, I think it was something like 12 hours in the making, these two put on a phenomenal main event match, which I honestly thought was going to go to a time limit draw.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't going into this, I did not think you could have the face of one company being the face of another in the promotion of the I'm trying to say.
Yes.
But shut up. But lo and behold, the face of Marvelous beats the face of Stardom in a Stardom ring without the belt on the line, which, like we said, sets up potentially a world title match either going to be in Marvelous or in Stardom at a future date, and I'm all for it. Do you think, though, we're going to get the starting match at some point?
It's tough to say. She's got to heal up. She's got other bookings, and then she's headed stateside at some point. So can they sneak this one in? Maybe they can. It's gonna be a tough one. I'd love to tell you that they would. It's a dream match for sure. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we got something that could be looked at as maybe being a little better, right? I mean, to have a little back and forth. I mean, this is what I wanted out of the Saudi match. Right now, I don't know if this is what the booking was or not, but I forget what show it was. But I was on and I was talking about this, and I said I would love for this to be a 1-on-1 in a sense, right? I would love for this to be a little bit of a platform to show Mayu versus one of the best in the business. And where it didn't happen with Sari, now we find ourselves in a position where it is happening with Aroha. And if that's something that we can look forward to moving forward, I am a big fan of that, Jay. I'm a very big fan of that. And I like that they gave the W to Aroha with a later date. I think that's good. So whether that's a pivot and they're making lemonade out of lemons here, time will tell. But ultimately, there's something that just sits right with me to have these two at this point, given their history. It's nice to see Aroha back in a Stardom ring. That's really what it comes down to for me.
It was good.
But this wasn't it. This wasn't the end, Jay. We found ourselves with a little post-match shenanigans, if you will. Why don't you walk everybody through what happened post-match?
Your girl came out. One was Saki Kashima.
And what did she do?
She challenged Mayu to a match. Now, it doesn't sound like Mayu's accepted because she has no interest in Saki. Now, to be fair here, Saki's kind of beneath Mayu.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, to be fair here.
I'm sorry, what?
Saki is kind of underneath Mayu.
In what sense are you speaking?
In ring wise, charisma wise, popularity, dude, everything. Let's be honest here.
That doesn't add up. I'm confused. No, of course, Mayu is the face of Stardom. Saki Kashima is not up to that level. I mean, I'm not even that crazy, right? But what I would tell you is the attack did one of two things. Number one, it allowed Aroha to get the save, right? And that's a big...
Correct.
That's an interesting wrinkle here. More importantly, they're putting Saki in a little bit of a storytelling element for once. Mayu being the best opponent for her with regards to storytelling because of their history, they were former tag champs together. Mayu looks at her best when she's in the ring tagging with Mayu. So for them, excuse me, Saki looks her best when she's in the ring tagging with Mayu. So for her to now kind of tease a program, or at least be a thorn in her side for a little bit, that's good, man. That's what you need. You need a good story being told, and when you have kind of the backup with Blondie, Tora, Natsu, and Jamie and B, well, then you can be a little braggadocious, right? You can kind of do some things that are a little, outside of your comfort zone. I think we got that this time.
If I'm not mistaken here, last 2 5-stars, Saki's beaten Mayu, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has.
With the Revival.
With Revival.
Right. So it has been done. It's not like it's...
Oh, no, it's believable. Look, there's a lot of history between the two. I mean, half the match is knowing the offense of your opponent, and who knows better than your tag team partner. This is something that's worth exploring. More importantly, you can slow burn it a little bit, right? You can take Saki, put her in a position to where she just keeps being a thorn in Mayu's side. Mayu's got she's got a match coming up in Nagoya versus Jungle for the World of Stardom Championship, 9th anniversary show. And then
that happens to be Jungle's hometown.
Right, which is part of the reason that's happening, which is again a great spot for Jungle, obviously. Always the bridesmaid.
Always to do the thing with Jungle, like put her in a title match in Nagoya and have her lose.
That's right. She's the best loser. And she's not hurt when she loses because, it was just a challenge that was accepted because she's Jungle. Everybody loves Jungle. So you get Saki involved there, still calling out Mayu. You then have her match with Aroha at a later date. And then from there, you find a position in which then you can build a little Saki Mayu story. And that's a great spot for Saki. Now, she ain't going to win that match. We all know that. That's not how this works. However,
if it's not for the title, she could.
You want to build a little credibility into Saki Kashima. You know, you want to build a little story around her. You know, kind of tease what they did with Mary Apache at the at year end 2 years ago, where Saki picked up a W, and it seemed as if she was on her way to her first singles title. Well, being in the program with Mayu, you know, that spans a couple weeks here, maybe a month, maybe two, before the ultimate payoff. I think it's good for the champion to keep her busy fighting a former tag team champion, or tag team, yeah, her former tag team partner in which she was champion with. And it allows Saki to kind of cement herself in Oedo Tai. Now, one of the things I didn't expect was for Saki to take over leadership of Oedo Tai. And I do not think she's headed down that path. However, with her picking up the W in the number one contendership, if she can then find herself in a position to maybe lead her team to a victory, well, maybe we see a new leader in Saki Kashima of Oedo Tai taking on the leader of Stars, and where what Kagetsu left behind for Oedo Tai, the unfinished business of getting their title back, Saki picks up the pieces and picks up the ball and runs with it. Who knows? It's a big ask. It's a big ask, but I'm a dreamer, bro. That's what I do.
Now, I'm just saying this now. If the belt's on the line, Mayu would obviously win. If the belt's not on the line, I could see them giving her up to Saki.
Yeah, I would like that too. Although I don't know how you don't put the title on the line, and number two, I don't know what that does for Saki picking up a W when she can't get the title. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good rub, to your point, but then what? You know, what comes after for Saki, and how do you keep the momentum going? Unless she's a flash in the pan, which you could make the case that this is a flash in the pan, and Saki's just a small storyline in the greater storyline that Mayu's telling. But right now, it's an interesting one. I like it.
You just like it because it's Saki. Let's be honest here.
You goddamn right. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for this episode of No Particular Angle. We appreciate everybody stopping by. Jay, let the people know where they can find you, my man.
You can find me on Twitter at @TheVivaLajadi or on the SmackDown podcast for weekly wrestling, Stardom, New Japan, AEW, WWE, which I'm still not really watching much. Yeah. Just the typical stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Progress. Don't forget Progress. Progress. Currently in a rebuilding phase. Currently got a new champion after their tall and bland one got injured at NXT TakeOver UK. So I'm curious to see what they're going to be doing with Cara Noir going forward, because that man is a superstar in the making.
Right. Yeah, no, it's true. And yeah. Oh, that's good, yeah. Jay. I appreciate you coming on. By the way, I appreciate the fact that you phoned in from Tokyo. Right? Like, that's commitment on your side to help out a fellow podcaster with a Stardom episode. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on, waking up early to do so. As for me, at bigpawsonapup on Twitter, as well as at NPA Podcast, we will be back next week.